Hello, everybody. My name is Colton with Narrative Inc., and I'm here today with a fantastic author, artist, and very talented person. Could you give yourself an introduction?
Hello there. Thank you for that introduction already. I'm Isaac Stewart. I am the head of creative development at Dragonsteel,
Yeah. No,
and here I am.
yeah, there
Good
you
to
go.
good to see you again, Colton.
No, it's really awesome. I mean, you're the head of creative development, but you've been working with Brandon basically his whole career. And so, what were your first impressions of working with him, and also just like yeah, just him as an author, but also yeah, working with him.
Well, working with him is great. It was one of these things that it didn't ever really occur to me
Mhm.
that I'd actually work for him.
Yeah,
It was kind of this for me. It was, oh, I'm doing maps for a friend on my in my spare time because I love his books and he's a good friend. And so it, I don't know if I didn't have enough foresight to know that he would. I loved his books, but I didn't look ahead of things and say, wow, this could blow up. This could be big, right?
yeah,
And so for me, it's just like, hey, I get to make cool books with my friends,
yeah.
and that's kind of how it has grown. So
That was really cool. Dang. And like, what you said, you didn't have the foresight. You guys just did. Nobody expect him to blow up like he did.
well, I don't think that I was even thinking about
Okay.
that, right? I don't know. Maybe I'm just dumb like that. I don't know. Cause I was talking to another author friend of ours
Mhm.
a while back, and she's like, wait, you didn't, I'm not at all surprised by all of this success that Brandon has had. And I was just like, I just don't know if I ever really thought about it, that, that this is the sort of thing that could happen. It
Right.
wasn't that I didn't think he was good enough for it. I
Yeah.
thought he was amazing and deserved all the success that he gets. It just, I guess, from the beginning, I wasn't thinking like, wow, this is something that could blow up. But I wasn't really like, I guess I wasn't really just looking for that. I
Mhm.
don't know. In my head, an author is like, it's like if you can sustain yourself and your family off of writing, wow, great, awesome, that's
Yeah.
the goal, right? But Brandon has always had really big goals, and he goes after them, and he takes opportunities when they come, and so he's not only a really great writer, he's a good business person.
Right.
So I try to look a little further ahead now, just knowing that things could continue to get bigger. So how do I prepare now? How do I prepare the company and my department in ways that can handle more fans? Because hey, come one, come all, we love the Cosmere. I would be a fan of Brandon's books whether or not I was working on them.
Yeah.
So
That's
and,
amazing.
and from the beginning, I always told Brandon, I'm like, I would do these maps and things for free. This is just sort of a hobby. This is fun for me,
Yeah.
the way to escape my work. So um, for me, it was just always something fun to be a part of. And
Mhm.
then it's been nice to see the company grow on top of that. But
Yeah.
again, I even when I was working directly for him, I just thought I was going to be the guy that made maps in his basement till I died. And then things just kept getting busier and busier. And I guess I just kept thinking, it's like, okay, it'll slow down.
Yeah.
And things haven't slowed down. They just keep getting busier and busier. So I just have to take that as the norm, and then
Mhm.
try to build things around that to support that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just this year, Dragonsteel alone is going to be massive. It's going to be so big because the Stormlight 5, and also just, I don't know, it seems like every year it's growing bigger.
Yeah, the convention is going to, yeah, it should be a pretty big convention this year.
Yeah.
I'm a little trepidatious about that, but luckily I'm not the one who has to plan that. But I certainly admire those on the team that are spending a lot of time and effort into making it great. So
Yeah. That's awesome. So you've obviously been working in the publishing industry with authors for a very long time, both in front and behind the scenes. What have been some of your favorite parts of that process from all your years of experience?
Um, but I've never worked in New York,
Okay.
so I've never worked at an actual, like a publisher.
Mhm.
But I've worked for publishers.
Yeah.
I started doing layout for books for two books, which is out of New York. Did the logo for their book, and then started doing art direction and layout of those books. And that was a fun process. I enjoyed working with the editor there, Stacy Whitman, who is a friend, and I think she does cool things. Uh, so that was one of the places where I got a taste of layout. I'd been laying books out on my own for quite a while, my friends' books and things like that, just for fun. I'd always liked to take raw text and see what it looks like as a published book. I would do that with my own stories back in the day when I just had like a window, whatever they were called, the 286 machine, and I would try to lay things out in WordPerfect in a way that made it look like, oh, here's my story that I just finished writing, and now I've laid it out to look like a real book. So it was always something that was kind of aspirational, but I didn't know I would be doing that professionally someday. But that some of my favorite parts are being able to see a story and then bring it together in a nicely designed package
Yeah.
that is just really readable. Like the physical books that we do, our ebooks are great too. On the physical book side, with the leather bounds and like the secret projects and things, we try not to worry like how many page signatures is going to go into this and how can we shave off a signature to save money. It's all about what space do we need to have the words on a page be comfortable to read, right? So we're thinking about typefaces and lines per page and the leading between lines and things, trying to make sure that it's the best reading experience that you can get for a physical book. Yeah, some people probably just they buy the leather-bound books and they're souvenirs that you put on the shelf. But I love it. Some people also, if they get one that's dinged a little bit, right, and they want to return it, that's great. You paid the money for that, return it. But I kind of love the ones that are dinged because now that's one that I can sit and read.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't have to worry now. I don't have to worry about like keeping it pristine or anything. Because now I can have the reading experience of this leather-bound book that I wanted to have. Right. Yeah. So that's probably easy for me to say when I have more access to copies of them around here. But it's honestly even my personal copies too. It's just like it's like sometimes I'll even get one that's dinged and that's my personal copy. Right. And I'll just because now I can peruse it and not feel bad about it. But I'm kind of just going all over the place here.
That's okay.
But I love getting to see taking things from a design stage to a finished product, whether that is a book or some of the goodies that come with secret project boxes, or book bundles and things like that. It's just fun. It's fun to create physical items and design those physical items.
Yeah, that is so cool. I mean, I personally also, I don't mind when books are dinged. I think it gives them more personality. It's like you said, it's your copy. You guys should do like some burnt edges and like some make it look like an old tome that's just gone through a lot. That'd be really cool. I think that'd be awesome.
Pre-damaged books.
Yeah.
Personally damaged by the staff at Dragonsteel.
I'm just saying, I think if people were like, oh, Brandon Sanderson took a hatchet to this book, man, I think people would take that. Like,
you're not wrong. We had a book here that got crushed. I think it was a copy of Tress. It got crushed at some point in transit, right? It fell off the pallet and got crushed. And so it was like, it looked like an S. It still had this shrink wrap on it. And somebody wanted that. They thought that was so cool that here was this book that had been like completely damaged, right? Yeah. But the pages and all of that were still intact inside the book. Yeah. even though it was so mangled and bent up, I'm like, oh, that's a pretty strong book. I don't recommend people go and do that with the books, but
True, true. I mean,
um,
misprints on trading card games are worth way more than
mhm.
some other things within the trading card games themselves. So it's like, I mean, I don't know. I think it's
we,
pretty
yeah,
cool.
when I visited the bindery,
Yeah,
they put books and they're looking at every book, right, and making sure, and they check to make sure that
yeah.
the end papers are in right and all of that. I've seen them do that
Mhm.
on a line, right?
Right.
But now and then one gets through that the end papers are upside down or
Mm.
something like that. And yeah, some people go nuts over that. Like they love it.
Yeah.
That's what they want to collect. They want to collect the ones that are just slightly unique in some way.
Send one out. It's the golden ticket. Like they get a free pass to get it signed. Like, yeah.
Once they're shrink wrapped and here, we can't tell.
Okay.
So they're in boxes. They're shrink wrapped in
Yeah.
boxes, and we just ship out the boxes. And it's up to the end users to let us know if there was a printing error on that. But I've seen them on the assembly line is probably the wrong word, but the line at the
Right.
printer checking those things beforehand so that in most cases we don't have to.
Right. Nice. Well, so I mean, those were some of your favorite things about working in the industry and all these things. What are some of the challenges that people don't necessarily see when you're dealing with all these books, all these departments, all these things?
The challenge is, at least for me, it's kind of organizational.
Mm.
Again, I thought I was just going to be this guy doing maps in Brandon's basement until I died. But now, right, I've got a department that I'm trying to run. I'm interacting with the other departments that who are luckily headed up by friends,
Right.
people that I've known a long time and enjoy spending time with. But just learning how to run a business, which is not something that it's like you don't get into art normally to run a business.
Right.
They should probably have more classes about running a business, and I know some schools do that now. But yeah, that's one of the biggest challenges
Mm.
is trying to get on top of all of the things, making sure that we are producing quality things on time
Right.
and uh, trying to get all the things done. I mean, I've been swamped for such a long time that now that I have help, it's incredible. But then you do need to manage all the help,
Right.
and then you have to figure out, okay, how do we assign these things? How do we use resources wisely? How do we not burn people out? How do we make it a wonderful place to work on top of making
Right.
great things? So those are the challenges for me right now are organizational.
Mm.
Of course, there are always challenges of, especially during the pandemic, and we're still
Right.
seeing from supply line
Yeah.
issues with that, where we used to be able to print books in a certain amount of time, and now it takes this amount of time
Right.
during the pandemic, and then it's only kind of creeped back to about here. On how long does it take to get something produced on the manufacturing side of things?
Yeah.
But we still run into those challenges, and but there's always fun things. There's fun challenges, like when Brandon comes to you and says, "Hey, I wrote another book. Why don't we insert that into the Words of Radiance crowdfunding?" And you go, "We can do this. We did 4 of those last year. We can do another one."
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but that's always fun. You get these surprises, and
Dang. Is it actually a surprise? Does he really just come and say, "Hey guys, I wrote another book," or is it more like, "Oh, we think he's cooking with something, but we're not sure."
well, the thing is that Brandon's always thinking about things,
Hmm.
right, and chatting about things. But there are things that he is naturally a showman about.
Mm.
It's the same thing that drives him to create explosive endings and
Right.
surprises and stuff in books, right? Uh, so he likes to do that with other things too. So he likes surprises,
Right.
and so
Mm.
generally speaking, these are surprises.
That's That's pretty funny that it's even for you guys, his closest circle that does all this stuff for him. That's like it's still a surprise. That's pretty fun. I mean,
Well,
yeah,
yeah. I mean, he doesn't necessarily get to be there when fans find out the
right,
surprise. It's kind of fun. It's like being, I guess, I'm putting words in his mouth probably, right? But I'm thinking about it
yeah,
in terms of like, if I were to spring a surprise on somebody, it's so much more fun to be right there when they
yeah,
find out and be able to see their reaction.
mm-hmm,
And so of course he would want to keep these a surprise from us, because then he can surprise us and he can
yeah,
see our reactions. And really, Brandon, a lot about him is he likes to do cool things and share them with other people. He's
yeah,
a very sharing individual. And so, you know, it's like something we can all share in.
yeah.
It,
That is so cool. That's amazing. Yeah,
and
and
hopefully I haven't said anything that I, shouldn't there.
hey, we'll
Putting
see.
thing, I don't want to put words in his mouth or anything, but just like an actor in a theater can get reactions from the audience and the way that they are
Yeah,
playing a role. You can't get that when you're in the movie theater, right?
yeah,
Uh, the actors in the film can't react to how the audience is reacting.
yeah. No, dang. That it's nice to hear it directly from people who are working within that, especially on the team, because it seems like there's almost this I mean, just legendary status around Dragonsteel as a whole and everything
Mm-hmm.
that you guys do. And so it's nice. It's really cool to hear from you guys directly. Um, One of my last questions I have for you, Isaac, is since you've been working with, I mean, a lot of authors, you worked with new authors, what advice do you have when people are trying to collaborate with artists to create maps and characters and emblems for their books?
Um, One of the biggest things that I would say is to not jump the gun
Okay,
on working with artists,
gotcha.
because it is a fun part
Mm-hmm.
of the process. And for some people, it might be like even drive them to write and keep writing, right? Is
Right.
this idea that they're also working with artists. Um, but I don't think that that should take place of writing the book and writing a great book.
Mm-hmm.
Do the work, revise the book, work on it, give yourself maybe that carrot out there is that you can hire an artist to do a drawing of one of the characters if you finish your book,
Right.
right? Um, so don't let the excitement of getting visual art take the place of writing. But once you do, like, finish your book and you want to get a map, it's nice to be able to talk to the artist directly if you can, and either give them a sketch of the map. Um, some publishers won't let you talk to them directly, in which case, do your best on your end to have a sketch that is going to look how you want it to look. Maybe work with an artist friend or something, or try to convince the publisher to let you be part of that process, um, to get the best map that you can.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times designers who are actually, they're the one who's assigned over the design of a particular book at a publishing house is also the one hiring map artists and illustrators and things. And they have a particular vision
Mm-hmm.
for the book. Find out who the designer is for your book and see if the publisher is okay with you seeing your editor and just talking directly with the designer to find out, like, what are their ideas for the book. Do they get the book? Do they understand it? And then trust their expertise on things. If try to learn where to push and where not to push,
Gotcha.
and where you're the writer and maybe not an expert in art. Some writers
Yeah.
have a really good grasp of art too, but let the publisher do what they're good at.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I guess that's some advice.
Yeah. I mean,
But
you're both an author and an artist. I mean, your book, Monsters Don't Wear Underpants, is hilarious and adorable.
Oh, thank you.
And so I know that you have experience on both fronts. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I've written and illustrated books. I've written straight up novels, and even on those things, I've come to a point where, like, if I wrote a book and we published it, and I hired an illustrator, I think I would still be working with other people in the company to make sure that we're getting a cover that is targeting the right audience.
Right.
I want to lean on people with that expertise. I don't
Mm-hmm.
want to just go out there and do it myself. And I mean, recently I did a map for a book that's coming out. My assistant wrote a book called The Doll Makers, which is really good, and it comes out later this year, I think August. And I did the map for it,
Wow.
and had a great designer who was working with me on it, and she had great feedback
Mm-hmm.
on the map. It's like, can we change the text? Can we do this? Can we do that? And it made the map better overall. So even I, who I'm like, I'm directing people here, it's good to get that outside opinion on things, because you can kind of just like work in an echo chamber sometimes. And I really appreciated that feedback, because in the end, the map turned out better than it would have been if I had just stopped when I thought it was done.
Yeah. No, I'm really excited for the doll makers because it's been I remember seeing it at Dragonsteel and I was like, oh, that's so cool. And so it's very exciting. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's really, really exciting.
it's exciting to see other people in the company, like reaching their creative endeavors, right? So it's fun. We're kind of like a big family here, and try to support each other, and it's fun to be able to do that.
That's amazing. Okay. Last question. What have been some of your favorite pieces of media, whether books, movies, TV shows, that you've watched recently that have really just inspired you or that you'd really just loved?
So I'm a big fan of musicals.
Okay.
Uh, I at least TV musicals.
Mhm.
And last year, like two of my favorite movies of last year that I saw last year.
Mhm.
So it was within this last year.
Mhm.
Um, is Lyle Crocodile,
Okay.
which I did not expect to enjoy, and Matilda the musical,
Oh, yeah.
um, which had the whole place cheering at certain points. I love those. I thought they were clever. The music was clever. Just watched Wonka. I thought that one was really fun. Tick Tick Boom.
Mm.
Like that one a lot. There's a scene where they're in a library or a bookstore, and Oathbringer is on the shelf behind, I think, one of the characters. But I think it's blurred out though. So
Right.
if you have to see it in like some of the uncut footage,
Yeah.
it's there, which is kind of funny. But that one was great, just about the creative process. And I really like anything that really just kind of speaks to you and is uplifting and just like makes you want to go out and be like, I feel awesome. Wasn't that great? And all of those had some element of that where, tugs at your heartstrings, or like gives you the motivation to go out and create or do or be better. Like I love the music of The Greatest Showman. There's
Mhm.
parts of the movie that really make me nervous, just like tension wise. And I know that P.T. Barnum wasn't really like the way they portray him there, but that's a movie that you go in, you follow this ride, and then when you leave, you're just like, I need to do better.
Yeah.
I can do better, right? I've got this. I can be a better person in society. I can follow my creative goals. Anyway, I love those sorts of things. So
That is so good to hear. Like I love that you just love musicals and are a big fan of them. Because yeah, I used to work out to the Greatest Showman playlist. It just
oh
got me
yeah,
going. Like I would
it's great music, right?
be on the treadmill, just yeah, I loved it. So
It's
yeah,
fantastic.
yeah.
I did get convinced to watch the Indian musical. I think it's a Tollywood musical,
Oh,
RRR.
I've heard of it.
And
Yeah.
that was pretty epic, right? It was way better than I was expecting it to be.
Yeah.
And the music was really good. And, you know, it was a buddy movie. And you know, the relationship between the characters and their loyalty to each other. It was over the top. But it was fun.
Yeah. Dang. Yeah, I haven't seen it, but I've heard really good things about it. When it was coming out, everybody was like, "Man, this thing's insane." I guess Bollywood has some cool stuff. It's like, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, they have for a long time. I need to watch more Bollywood and Tollywood movies
yeah.
because I find them really fascinating and beautiful.
Yeah. Dang, that's amazing. Well, thank you so much. I
Yeah,
always love
thank
to
you for your
hear.
time.
Yeah, I always love to hear what people are into, what they really like. But yeah, thank you so much
Um,
for your time, Isaac. I
Mike,
really appreciate it.
I have a question for you then.
Yeah, yeah.
What is something that you have read or watched in the last year that you have just loved outside of Brandon's books and
Oh
things?
man, I actually haven't been reading too much of Brandon recently because I'm writing middle grade stuff, and so I'm reading a lot
Cool.
of I mean, I reread Aragon recently. I've been reading Fablehaven, the Spiderwick Chronicles. Those are some of my favorite books. But man, that's a good question. You're asking hard hitting questions. I'm not used to being asked things. Um, huh. It's a great question. Um, oh man, I'm kind of drawing a blank right now because I watch a lot of things. Well, recently, and I mean for a long time, I'm really into Yu-Gi-Oh! And
Okay.
I love shonen, I love anime, anything that's friendship and just working together to overcome the darkness, things like that. I'm a huge fan of. So like
That's cool.
Pokemon, Digimon, Yu-Gi-Oh, any of those things, I'm like
That's awesome.
love them so much.
My
It's
my kids have been having me watch some anime and watch The Promised Neverland,
mm,
which was really interesting.
yeah,
Assassination Classroom. Just the time of day they were having me watch it, I just kept falling asleep. Unfortunately, on that one, it wasn't that it was bad
yeah,
or anything. It was the time of day.
yeah,
But yeah, there's some really great anime out there.
yeah. No,
So that's
it's
awesome that you're into that.
yeah, it's a big thing that I really love. If I you might have heard of it, but Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Watch that
Good.
with
Okay.
my kids. It's fantastic.
It's
I
it's
loved it.
it's one of my favorite stories of all time. It's
Oh,
so good.
it just pulls at you though.
Yeah.
And some of those things, like there was like one episode, you probably know which one I'm talking about. And I'm just like, should I be showing this to my kids?
It's
Right.
it
And it
get,
wasn't like it was like over the top or anything. It was
no.
just like the emotional stuff that was
Yeah.
going on.
It
So
gets there's some parts. I mean, obviously the whole series itself has so many themes of war and
yeah.
genocide and all these things, but even just the personal stories get really dark
Hmm.
and not gratuitous, but very much like, yeah, this is a lot. And I think kids media should have some of that because it really hitting those themes and learning about those things early on can help inform you like, okay, it's okay to feel these things, it's okay to
Hmm.
understand this darkness. um yeah, anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. There's certainly a place for that for
Yeah,
people to kids. I mean, when you read books, you are emotionally preparing for similar situations
right,
in some ways,
yeah,
right? Which is, you know, puts it back on the responsibility of authors
hmm,
to be able to present things in healthy ways
right,
or present things where it's like it's obvious that what they're doing is unhealthy.
yeah,
This is not the right way to approach something, but
yeah,
right. So that you are vicariously going through those same motions and those same choices
hmm,
and judging the character's choices and saying, what would I do in this situation or that? But at the same time, understanding
yeah.
other people.
that's
So
that's
those are all good things.
that's why media and books are so important, like why
Hmm.
they give us so many great things to think about, to ponder on, and to experience, like, yeah,
Yeah.
vicariously. it's
There's
amazing.
there's huge responsibility on authors
Yeah. Which
because you can over time shape society.
Mhm.
What was that?
I was just say I struggled for a long time because I want to be an author and publish and share stories with people. And for a long time I was like, is it a valuable thing to just want to write books and share stories? And after interviewing so many authors and just thinking about myself, I'm like, yeah, stories changed my life. Of course it's important. It gives
Yeah.
so much value to us.
It's not an accident that some of the most influential things in the world are stories,
Yeah.
whether they are fictional or historical,
Yeah.
right? And it's not an accident. There's something about stories that speaks to the human condition.
Yeah.
So yeah, never think that what you're doing is not valuable.
Yeah.
And do it in your way. Take, you have a specific voice that the world needs to hear.
Yeah.
Don't give up on that voice, and you'll be able to change people, give them hope and things like that. So yeah, this is a totally noble thing to be pursuing.
No, I appreciate that, and I think I'm really happy that I got that because a lot of people need to hear that. I um
Yeah.
I don't think enough people realize how important their voice is in how loud the world is today. I think people forget about that, and so thank you so much, Isaac.
Yeah.
That's such a beautiful thing, such a profound thing to know and to share.
Yeah. Well, go out there, write books,
Yeah,
do great things.
go be
As Neil
creative.
Gaiman said, make good art,
Yep,
right?
yep.
Or maybe he said it, make good art.
Make good art.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh,
But there's
awesome.
that, yeah, great speech that he gave at
Yeah,
one of the commencements that about making good art, and I loved it.
yeah. Awesome.
So,
Any final words before we head off and let people go create good art?
um, there's always thoughts going on,
Yeah,
but I think this is a good place to stop. So
there you go.
thank you for your time and
Of
for
course.
chatting. And yeah, I wish you the best on everything.
No, I appreciate you. I appreciate all the work you do. I don't think people realize how much and how integral you are to all the amazing art that we love from Brandon and the Dragonsteel team. So you deserve so much praise and so much appreciation for all that you do. So you're doing
Well,
great.
thank you.
We do appreciate you, Isaac. You're a fantastic artist and creative director. So you're doing
I
a good job.
appreciate that. We are, I am just a link in a chain.
Yeah.
And so it's, I'm just one.
Yeah.
And the chain reaches all the way to everybody who's reading the books, because we couldn't do this
Yeah.
if readers weren't engaging with it. So we appreciate everybody who's a part of this. We're all a part of it. It's we're all coming together in a way to allow Brandon to tell us awesome stories, basically.
Yeah.
So don't you guys forget that either.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much to everybody for watching. Check out, all of Isaac's stuff, both his books that he's worked on and done, and also all of Brandon's stuff, obviously. Yeah. Thank you guys. Have a great day.